Welcome, living dolls, evil landlords, or I guess landlords, and adopted parents shoved into a cupboard, to episode 397 of an Unearthly podcast, streaming live on the 31st of March, 2021. And no, you did not miss an episode. We just can't count. And our count has been off for a little while, and we updated it with our database. So, yeah, episode 397. This is Night Terrors, written by Mark Gaddis and starring Matt Smith as the Doctor, Karen Gillan as Amy Pond, and Arthur Darvill as Rory Williams. I am Bill Sylvia, the Man in Black, and apparently Joe Biden found my tax return under the couch somewhere from last year. With me are Randy Ronson McCulloch.
Yeah, numbering errors is what happens when three people try to edit the same script.
Mad Matt Winchell.
Kids want some Kool-Aid?
And Thomas Fireheart.
Insert Narnia jerk here.
Oh, yeah, and two of us are vaccinated. Partially.
Yes.
The Lion,
Yay.
the Witch, and the Forgotten Check.
Well, partially vaccinated.
Yeah. Stage 1 of 3, kind of.
Of 3?
There's shot 1, shot 2, wait 2 weeks, and then good to go.
Well, actually, then it's 4 stage. Shot 1, wait X amount of
The
weeks.
wait, shot 2,
Shot
and
2.
then the second wait.
There.
Yeah. Because if I could get shot 2 tomorrow, I'd go get shot 2 tomorrow, but I can't.
True.
I want to go, but I can't. They won't let me.
No, I gotta wait 3 weeks for mine. How long for yours?
They said 3 weeks, but the appointments got taken up pretty quickly, so I think mine's actually after yours. The 26th is my second appointment.
Yeah, so how's yours going?
Pretty well. I had Moderna. I had a sore arm for a day, and I was tired the next day, but that was probably because I was up until 4 a.m. grading papers.
Yeah, I had the Pfizer, and it went pretty good. I had to drive clear out past the airport, so the exact opposite side of town.
Gotcha.
To basically an industrial building that was vacant that apparently just they took over for this. So they had you drive in through like the loading dock and stop at the station, get some paperwork, stop at the next station. They gave you the shot. Then they had you pull out and wait for 15 minutes to make sure you didn't go into anaphylactic shock.
They did the same thing with me. I did it at a Kroger pharmacy just because it was it was the easiest place to see 10 possible locations refreshing at the same time. And there was only 10 minutes out of town. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing. I came in, I gave them my insurance paperwork. Then I just went to the next window, got the shot, and then they had me wait 15 minutes.
Yeah. And so we waited. Aaron went with me just in case I was unable to drive afterwards if I did have a medical, incident. And I took it, and 15 minutes went by and nothing happened. And we drove to Sonic and had chili dogs and onion rings.
Nice. Chili dogs and Sonic, even though I think the game's abandoned that, but it's still a perfect combination.
Well, it's one of the few places. There's only 2 fast food drive-through style places in this area that serves hot dogs.
Gotcha.
And one of them's Sonic, and the other one is oh God, what is that place called? Portillo's, which is a Chicago-based restaurant.
There's a place here. I don't know if it's a chain or if it's just a local restaurant. It's called Larry's Doghouse. And they have like 15 different types of hot dogs.
Nope. If you usually find a place in Wisconsin, it's more selling brats than anything else.
Makes sense.
I wanted a goddamn chili dog. And there used to be
I
places.
just want to
Chili
go to a
brats.
Sonic's for a change. I've never been to a Sonic.
Honestly, cheddar brats with chili sounds pretty good, but I don't know if you could find that.
There aren't that many Sonics in Wisconsin, Matt.
Yeah, that's just it. All we were starting to visit my sister more frequently, and the idea to visit Sonic sometime came up, and then all of a sudden all of them closed over there.
I know there's a Sonic in Athens, and I heard it's small enough that they don't do the car hop thing that Sonic is known for, just drive through.
Mm.
See, I wouldn't care either way as long as I could actually try it to see what their restaurant's like. I never even got a chance.
The one that you were aware of was probably the one in Middleton, Matt, and that closed because the manager was not a good manager.
Mm. Well, the
And
ones
they
I was
did-
mentioning were in Appleton, and they just all just collapsed within like a year or two after my sister moved out there.
But there's still one in Sun Prairie. And we were, like I said, we were out past the airport, so we were almost in Sun Prairie. So it was
just about, yeah.
Literally
that
a
area is
10-minute
almost
drive to
technically
Sonic.
considered Sun Prairie, so yeah.
Yeah, it was like a 10-minute drive to Sonic, and we did the car hop thing. Sat there and ate. I had a foot-long chili dog. Aaron had a regular-sized one, and we shared a large onion ring. And then we went home. And I didn't have any issues, except for the fact that my arm started hurting, which is...
To be expected.
Yeah.
Tell me, Thomas, are you silently judging American food, or is Australia or is Australia similar?
I mean, like, we have Krispy Kreme, so I don't think we can talk. So, and KFC.
Krispy Kreme is a hell of a drug.
That's right. I need to find where the nearest Krispy Kreme is so I can get my free donut.
Why do you need a free donut?
Because if you got a vaccine and you can show proof, you get a free donut.
Oh, did they give you a vaccination card?
They gave me like a piece of paper with a receipt on it.
Oh no, they gave me an actual card that had a stamp on it showing the time and date I got vaccinated.
I forgot to go through my papers afterwards, so there might like, I know there's a card for my next appointment, but there might be an actual card like you mentioned, because I know I've heard of them.
The stupid thing is, the card is too big to fit in a normal wallet. It's like, if you're going to give people vaccination cards, you should make sure they're about the size of a credit card so you can fit it in a wallet slot.
Yeah, unless make sure that is credit card appropriate.
Unless you're giving out lanyards.
That is about the size of it, yeah. Maybe a little smaller than your normal hello, my name is badge, yeah.
Yeah, like any... just hearing Sonic and Chili Dog, it just reminds me that I'm pretty sure people were kind of annoyed that there wasn't some sort of marketing thing for the Sonic movie with that.
Right?
Seemingly.
It's like
I was
Sega
mildly surprised by that too, but then again, we don't
it's like Sega completely abandoned all the Sonic stuff I loved in the 90s. And as somebody who never owned a Sega system, all of my knowledge of Sonic came from those two shows that Sega's just like, oh yeah, those existed.
Yeah, I know. I'm still listening to voices of Sonic and going, that guy's no Jaleel White.
Right. Like, and Jaleel White is still alive, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah. He reprised his role of Steve Urkel about 2 years ago in a Scooby-Doo thing. I'm like, I listened to that and went, no, you're not nasally enough anymore.
It's gotten too old.
So should we go on to the show?
Yeah, I think so. Unless you have anything else to say about your shot.
Nope.
Okay.
I have nothing in particular interesting going on other than we have a break from other streams that I've been using all that time to catch up on other things.
I do have one more thing to say. Erin's going for her shot tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And she's getting the Johnson & Johnson shot. That's the all-in-one. So it'll be interesting to see how much that lays her out.
I did hear that's supposed to offer less protection. But I'm not up to date on the latest statistics. So I know
the one I'm getting, the Pfizer's are like a damn near 100%, if not 100%. So, and I think most of the other ones are like 95 to 100. So
there's so many takes, good or bad, on all the shots I don't even know anymore.
A friend of mine told me the Johnson was only supposed to be like 70%, but I don't know if they were correct.
I heard something about that, but I'm not sure.
That could also
Where
just
that-
been old numbers too, for all we know.
It could be. It definitely could be 100%.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you
That's
on
probably
that
why
one.
it took longer to make.
All I know is I do remember that there are different numbers,
Hmm.
and it's like effectiveness in this, effectiveness in the other thing.
Hmm.
The Johnson and Johnson is still has ranges from 65 to 72 with mild or moderate only, but 85 with severe without hospitalization, and then 100% severe. It's still 100% effective against hospitalization or death.
Got you. So that's the main one that's doing a lot of symptom reduction, but it's not preventing infection from everybody.
Correct. Whereas mine is 95 percent, 90 to 98, and yours is 94, 100, 100. So anyway, moving on to tonight's show. We've got birthdays, we've got news, just a little. And then we go straight to our episode summary, our review, our final thoughts, and our ratings, as we have no Geek Talk. Okay, so birthdays. Starting with March 25th is the birthday of Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor, 1967 to 1969. Would have been 101, but he died in 1987 at 67 while at a convention.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that convention died shortly after. You do not have a Doctor Who convention where a doctor died
And
in
continue
your
to just be a
hotel.
convention. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
The next day-
That's a stigma. That just sticks.
Yep. The next day was the birthday of Barry Letts, producer from 70 to 75, also known as the third Doctor producer. Would have been 96, but died in 2009 at the age of 84. And then on the 28th is the birthday of Gareth David Lloyd, who played Ianto Jones in Torchwood. He turned 40. Would have been great last week, but can't tell people to change their birthdays just for our schedule. So happy birthday, Patrick.
Not yet anyway.
Moving on to episode news. We have more filming in Liverpool. This time it seems to come from originally the Church of St. Luke and Metropolitan Cathedral, where apparently several people caught filming underway. There's quite a few pictures. It takes a bit to load up.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see John Bishop there between shots. And
Why is he the only one we see ever? Or is that one not who I'm thinking of? I don't know.
and
Yeah,
then
that is
below,
who I'm thinking of.
and then below we have another character who Matt likes the costume, hates the mask.
The costume looks nice, but if this is supposed to be an alien, I've seen more convincing G.I. Joe masks for 10-year-olds.
Yeah, I've been saying it might be a mask that they're going to touch up with CGI.
I hope so, but that's not a guarantee.
Where is it?
Like he's like the last
last
couple of
two.
pictures towards the bottom.
Yeah. Like the last 4 pictures.
Oh, there we go. I was looking on the wrong one. Because the other one hadn't loaded the pictures for me yet.
I am almost certain I've seen that mask before somewhere.
Well, someone did seemingly make a joke in the tweet the image is from underneath, where it's like, I found it on Amazon for £10 or something like that. As whether they were joking and that's just like a similar-ish mask or not. It's just like, hey, I found that mask somewhere for cheap.
You know, it wouldn't surprise me for them to have it filmed with one mask and completely replace it in CGI. Just
Could
because
be.
they
Could
didn't
be,
want
yeah.
people to know what the alien looked like.
Or
That
even,
would be a Chibnall thing to do.
or even if they always plan to have a CGI face and they just put a mask on, so that would be more like to help the actors stay in character, not corpse or whatever.
But even then, you would think they want to at least capture the head movements or something. But I guess whatever.
That crossed my mind. Yeah, do a vision sort of thing, but.
I don't know why,
I
but
don't know.
the outfit looks very like comic book supervillain for
Oh,
some
see,
reason to me.
I was thinking it looks like Darkseid dressed as the Gold Ranger from Power Rangers Zeo.
That was my thought. Is hey, look, it's Darkseid. Oh, they're getting Zack Snyder to film this.
No, look, it's Darkseid. Oh, wow. They went cheap on your prosthetics there, Darkseid. You have a kind face.
Anyway, in the next one, there's still more filming in Liverpool. This one has both Mandeep Gill and John Bishop. And we get to see Mandeep Gill in some period outfits. Meaning this may not be the same episode, or there's some time travel involved in this episode.
Possible. Both are very possible.
So
maybe time travel is involved with a different episode on the same location. Yeah.
Good to see some of the returning crew in some of these photos for once.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they might have been filming the John Bishop scenes without the Doctor. The stuff before the stuff where he gets into trouble before he meets the Doctor.
Kind of a deal, yeah.
Because we don't know the story. It could be a good, 20 minutes into the episode before they meet. Excuse me. But it's just a lot of period stuff.
I like how there's the tweet saying, I don't know who this man is, and then the article writer points out that it's somebody from Pirates of the Caribbean. So, tough break on not becoming a well-recognized face, I guess.
Oof.
Ouch.
Then again, half the actors in movies I've watched, I wouldn't recognize them on the street either.
Excuse me, I had to have a drink. Dry throat.
Have you clicked on any of the videos or any of them worth looking at?
I did not click on the videos.
I didn't click on the videos either, but I did see them playing a little bit. Lots of wrestling about, as far as I could tell, at least initially from those videos. So it's like, nothing you can really find quickly.
Yeah. It just looks like, filming, and it's that they usually try to stop you from filming during scenes.
And meanwhile, Mandeep Gill is waving at the paparazzi.
Well, yeah, she's not in a scene, so she's
right.
Allowed
so she's allowed to wave now between takes. Yeah.
That looks like a non-costume jacket over her costume jacket. The costumes look very Oliver Twist.
Yeah, it looks very either Victorian or early Edwardian. Around the turn of the century.
I was going to say, around about turn of the century-ish.
Although we really can't say that anymore.
Because fashion keeps coming back and going away again.
A lot of the time when I say return of the century, turn of the century, I'm talking about the other ones, so yeah.
Yeah, the fact that we keep saying that referring to 1900 means we're old guys. Anyway, that's all the filming news that we have. Just a bunch of pictures and rumors. That's it. Big Finish news. The only thing out this week is DW or Doctor Who Master, and that's Master with an exclamation point as opposed to the one that came out. Like, what was it? 20 years ago?
They're running out of Master titles.
Yes, they are.
They've used up all of his famous quotes.
Anyway, this one's with Eric Roberts and Chase Masterson. And I know some of you are going, who the hell is Chase Masterson?
I'm wondering why it sounds familiar. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Do you remember Star Trek Deep Space Nine?
Didn't see much.
Because she was in that. She played, I believe, Lita the Dabo girl. Who I think wound up... I think she wound up marrying Rom, the Ferengi. But I'm sure that's, you know... Yeah, Lita. That's who she played. She was Lita the Dabo girl. And they snagged her for Big Finish.
Apparently.
Because why not?
Apparently she's been in a few Big Finishes, because I remembered her name as having been said on one of the Big Finish back of house documentaries, and she's been in Vienna, which is a Big Finish line.
Yeah. And that's actually part of what was the free download this week, but since it's non-Doctor Who, I wasn't really going to report it. And I mean, she was a big soap opera actor too, so.
Yeah, Lita, a couple other shows. She was a part of Fist of the North Star?
Probably as a voice actress. She does lend her voice to things.
Mamiya, yeah, she was one of the main characters. Holy cow. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, as mentioned, the free download this week is non-Doctor Who related, so that's all the news we have. And as we have no geek talk, we are straight to the episode summary.
I've been watching a lot of shows that are on mid-season break, so nothing special to talk about there.
Yeah, all I've really been
Haven't
watching
fished any
is
games
Critical
lately.
Role, so.
Believe me, I'm working at them, but I haven't finished any games lately. But yeah, so I believe it's Thomas.
Yep.
Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, we open on a council estate where a kid named George seems to be afraid of everything, even having little rituals to help calm him down. His plea of asking to be saved from the monsters somehow manages to transcend time and space and end up on the doctor's psychic paper. While looking for the kid, Amy and Rory somehow end up being taken out of the lift they're on and end up in some weird dollhouse dimension thing. As does the old lady that we'd seen when she was sorting out her rubbish, and later on the landlord while he's watching TV. After finding out about more of George's rituals, the doctor realizes the monsters George has locked in his cupboard are likely real, but nothing seems to be in there when he opens it. A line of questioning leads George's dad, Alex, to remember that his girlfriend or wife, I forget their relationship, Claire, can't have kids in the first place, causing the doctor and Alex to be pulled into the cupboard into the dollhouse when George freaks out. Meanwhile, Amy and Rory are still looking around when they witness the landlord being turned into a human-sized doll by these other dolls that have been running around, with Amy being turned into one as well when they try to make an escape from a room they barricaded themselves into. Finally, the Doctor realizes that George is a member of an alien race called the Tenza, which explains how he's able to subconsciously do all of the weird shit that's been happening. And the Doctor's pleased to get George to end all of this leads to George coming into the cupboard, but refuses to actually do anything once he has. The Doctor realizes that George's fear of being sent away is holding him back, and prompts Alex to reaffirm his love for George and reassure him that he'd never send him away, putting everything back to normal and seemingly getting rid of George's fears. Doctor says goodbye to them, and the TARDIS crew leave, with us ending on them discussing where to go from here, and that TikTok Goes the Clock song. The end.
2 minutes, 7 seconds.
All right. So let's talk about what we liked about the episode. And believe it or not, Thomas, you're first.
General aspect. Let's see. I guess I like the concept of the creepy dolls. It's like this very like Doctor Who typical thing of like taking something that's mundane and trying to make it scary. I didn't know they were supposed to be inspired by peg dolls, but like until I was reading the wiki summary, but it was like, oh, okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And like the seeing the effects of the change on at least the landlord was like, oh fuck, that is actually pretty fucked up. So yeah, it's like it's a very interesting monster concept.
All right. Bill?
So yeah, I'm just gonna say I feel like there are some genuinely creepy moments, especially when you don't know what's going on. So they do a very good job of kind of setting this, setting the tone for what's clearly intended to be a scary episode.
Okay. Matt?
When a horror story, and it does happen once quite often, when a horror story is focused around a child, it could either mean absolute doom or this might actually run smoothly. I will say while the child actor in this is not like the greatest child actor I've ever seen, I will say he did a fairly good job and kept being believable as a main focus of the particular story.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
no little girl from Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think part of what helps is like they keep his dialogue very minimal.
Yes,
They keep
So
his
it's a
dialogue
lot
minimal,
of
but they also still allow him to emote when he needs to.
he really had to
Yeah.
nail that line. Protect me from the monsters.
Okay. I would like to go along with Bill's on this. I really liked, and this is probably the director more than the writer, how they were able to make this kind of suspense jump scary at times. I mean, one of the scenes that sticks it out is when the Doctor is going towards opening that cupboard, and just as he's about to hit there, the door, somebody knocks on the door.
The
Mhm.
landlord.
Yes, and they had stretched that suspense as far as it would go.
Yeah.
So when that knock hits, you're just like, what? Yeah.
I think that. Well, I mean, we're not. Well, this is neither a favorite nor a least favorite thing, but in terms of that, I really thought when the knocking happened that it was the real person from social services. So there was that extra suspense that, like, what's the doctor going to do when he's caught out? But that didn't actually happen.
Okay, so least favorite. Thomas again first.
Let's see. Probably doesn't really count, but I guess in a weird way, this felt more like it would fit as a Sarah Jane Adventures episode. than a doctor. So, like, I don't know why, but like upon rewatch, I was kind of like, this feels like this would actually work either a lot better or just feels in tone like it could have worked more as a Sarah Jane episode rather than main Doctor Who.
And that's interesting that that's a dislike, since you're constantly touting Sarah Jane as some of
Well,
the best.
I
Sarah
guess it's
Jane
like
is
in
extremely
that
good for children's show, but it's not exactly your normal family level show.
yeah, I guess that's my point. It feels more like a kids show episode than like a family show episode in that way. And it's not. It
I
is
could see
basically a
that. I could
nitpick.
see, yeah.
Like it's mainly just a nitpick because I can't really think of anything else. But yeah, it was just a thing that occurred to me of, I feel like
They
this
could have
probably
upped
would
the
have
ante a
actually worked
little
better
bit,
at
just a
the.
little.
Yeah, they wouldn't have to change much for it to be Sarah Jane either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
All
she'd
right,
still
Bill.
have to bullshit her way around the social services thing, but yeah.
So what I dislike is that I feel like the Doctor did way too much bragging in this episode, and it was kind of distracting to the point of like, okay, why are you like talking yourself up so much? And I don't know if it's because something made him nervous and he was trying to write it, like play it out. But there were several times where I was just like, can you just shut up and move on? And especially since I kind of feel like this could have used more time for certain other things that there definitely could have been a little less of that.
I mean, that's generally a problem that happens depending on the writer with Matt Smith's Doctor anyway. Is that
And
they'll
in
make
this-
him a bit too hyperactive.
Well, in
It wasn't even hyperactive. He was just like talking about how great he was.
Well, it's part of this season. It's the fact that they suddenly just tacked several hundred or a few hundred years onto the Doctor's life, and they're going, "Hi, I'm the Doctor. I'm old."
I'm old and now I'm really self-conscious and talking a lot. Did I mention I talk a lot?
All right, Matt.
One of the few things I do have an issue with in this episode is that a lot of the side characters that are involved in the story are very cardboard cutout-ish, especially like the...
You just stole mine. I'm going to tack onto this.
Okay, for instance...
They're not even cardboard cutout. They're stereotypes.
Yeah, that's basically what I was getting to. Yeah, they're basically just stereotypes. Essentially, a lot of them are there. Like, the mother is barely there to begin with, but then the other characters are, like, basically just there to become dolls.
Yeah, well, it's like... in particular, the character of the landlord is such a stereotype.
The minute you see him, you go, "Pardon me, sir, do I owe you money?" Without even knowing that he does owe them money.
Yes. Yes, it's like if you gave him like a Brooklyn or Jersey accent, he's the kind of guy that'd be walking down the corridors going, "Rat stew!"
Yeah, basically. But he has a lovable dog.
I also, with the dog, he also has struck me on occasion as Rule 63 Marge Dursley. Because he's just this big slab with a slabby dog that's mean. And just, hey, look, I'm the landlord. I'm an asshole. Yeah. It's a stereotype. And the old lady is, look at me, I'm an old lady. I have bad knees. I have bad hips.
What'd she say? She was waiting on her new hip to get in?
Her new knees. She just got
her new knees, and I believe when she came back, she's just like, "Oh, I'm never taking those pills again."
Yep. Her entire thing is, look at me, I'm old.
Yeah. And like...
Relatable.
Yeah.
My hair is gray, my teeth are dull.
It's like, it's also one of those things where like the old lady is kind of pointless in even being there to a degree. Like the first scene where she goes past the kid's window and freaks him out. It's like, okay, you could leave that, but otherwise she's not really necessary.
Yeah, she's absolutely unnecessary to it. Because
Well, we gotta
all
pad
that
out
happens
with the
is
first
there's like
victim.
there's the scene of her thinking something's in the trash and getting sucked in, and then there's a scene of her
Mhm.
walking around the house and getting lost. That's
Yeah,
it.
when she came, I thought I had a memory of her as being a red herring, but she's definitely not that. She's really just there to add to the body count so that you have time to figure out something weird's going on.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's really it.
Mhm.
She does not interact with any of the rest of them. So
Yeah.
she is completely superfluous to the plot.
I think it's because she looks like one of the old ladies from Amy's Choice. Is probably what threw you off.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
But yeah, they could have completely cut that and devoted that time to better things.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just the side characters there in general. They're just like I said, they're just there to be fodder, or have one dialogue scene and be gone.
Yeah, they're just, and because of that, Gaddis wrote them as these one-dimensional stereotypes that could be in almost any kind of film.
Mm-hmm.
And really, Doctor Who should do better than that. All right. Favorite scene?
This one was always going to be easy, for me, and it's the which I've got this line slightly wrong before, but otherwise I remember the entire line by memory, and this is only like the second and third times I've watched this. It's the whatever you are, whatever you do, you are my son, and I will never ever send you away. That line gets me every time.
And I honestly think they wrote that line and then decided to write an episode about it. Or like they wrote that bullet point. They
Probably.
wrote that plot point and then they said, okay, now let's write an episode about it.
Probably.
It's
You know, it's
possible.
a good line. It was like both times on the rewatch, especially last night when I was watching, I was like, no, you don't. I'm not gonna fucking cry, you assholes. Yeah, like it. I don't like. Maybe it's just because family stuff hits me, or it's. I've also thought of the dad accepting the son for what he is, and being of a marginalized community sexuality wise. It's like maybe that's why it also hits a bit close to home. But I don't know. It's just like something about that moment just hits me in the like just the right spot. And it's like
Yeah, unfortunately, it has kind of the opposite effect on me, but only because of, you know, the context. I'll talk about that in a bit.
I wonder if it has to do with my least favorite scene.
We'll talk about that. But Bill, go ahead and give your favorite.
So my favorite scene, I'm going to go with when the penny drops on the doctor, when they're doing all this, hey, tee hee hee, see all the things that the sonic screwdriver can do. And now, see, aren't we going to open this cupboard and prove there's no monsters? And holy shit, I'm
That
not
just went off
opening
the
that
scale.
cupboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that
The
reading is off
tone
the.
shifts all of a sudden,
It'd be
and it
like
gets
it'd
serious.
be like an episode of Ghostbusters where Egon's just like, yeah, don't worry about it. Nothing. Oh my god, that's a freaking 8 on the PKE. Yeah. Venkman, it buried the needle. Yeah. It's one of those moments. And I was going to choose that until you took it, Bill. God damn it.
Sorry.
All right. Matt, how about you?
Mine comes, I guess, slightly before Bill's. The moment where he was about to open the closet in front of everybody, and then also the knock at the door was pretty amusing.
Ah.
Oh, that high tension bit. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
that high
mentioned that
tension bit is
earlier.
just like pulling it. Come on. Oh, jeez.
Oddly enough, I'm out of scenes. Because Matt just took my backup.
Oh,
It happens with short episodes.
All right. Least favorite scene. Thomas.
Hmm. Let's see. I guess something that jumps out is the Doctor and Alex being pulled into the cupboard, because something about the way they're being made to act it looks very, yes, this is obviously people just pretending to be pulled back into the, and like in some cases it's just certain shots, but it's still like, you couldn't like do something extra to give a bit of resistance, so they're trying to pull against something.
It gives you pulling the Auton chair down around yourself vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to
Yeah.
pull a poltergeist.
Mhm.
Where they're getting where everything's getting sucked into the closet. They just don't pull it off well.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
All right, Bill.
So my least favorite scene, and I kind of get what they were going for with this, but the whole scene with the whole realizing his wife was sterile, and therefore this kid was actually adopted, and the horror involved in that, just knowing that real adopted kids exist and already have shit they need to put up with, it really rubbed me the wrong way.
It's not even adopted. I mean,
Like that it was deceptive to, yeah.
I mean, if you go into Mythos, this kid is functionally a changeling.
Mm,
And if you know the superstition about that,
right.
that's basically
Except a changeling's supposed to be they steal your real kid and
Mhm.
replace it,
But
whereas he or she couldn't have a kid.
This is close enough.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Where they were unable to have a kid, and then suddenly this kid is inserted.
And I just imagine if somebody who was like just found out they were adopted after thinking they were their parents' biological kid watched this episode, they would be traumatized.
It's possible.
Even given the ending, I don't feel like the ending is enough to pull back from that moment.
And I will still have a little bit to talk about this at the end.
Okay.
Matt, go ahead.
Least favorite scene.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I guess I just kind of just the way that people keep getting plucked into the dollhouse seemed a little bit odd. But I remember the Amy and Rory one being okay, and the old lady one is okay-ish too.
Mhm.
But the landlord one again just kind of is like, what?
Yeah.
You know,
Like two are essentially off screen,
Oh,
sort of, and that's the only one that's shown.
if I'd thought about it ahead of time, a great bump would have been from Blazing Saddles,
Hmm.
where he stepped into the carpet there, his feet started sinking. Go, hey, what is it that ain't exactly ground, but ain't exactly water?
I don't know, but I hate it.
Quicksand. Yeah. That was kind of what the special effect was, and I'm just like, yeah, no.
Next, the landlord is going to literally pull himself out of the carpet and then go after one of the residents with a shovel.
It's like
Tell
I
him
was
I
almost.
said, "Thung,
Although
ow!"
the one thing I did like about that scene is the dog did absolutely jack shit.
Good boy.
Yeah.
It didn't even get up. It's just like, oh wow, the ground just swallowed him up. Oh,
Well, I guess
well.
I'll have to break out the front door later.
And even when he
Oh, I
comes
guess he's
back, the
back.
dog's just
It's like,
dog's just eating food out of his hand.
yeah, it means I'm gonna have to piss on the carpet later. Yeah.
Maybe
All
later on
right.
I'll have to make a lot of noise and run around in a circle.
So my problem is with the ending where the guy just suddenly just like I love you no matter what. I mean, yes, it's there, but humans don't recover that fast. The man has literally been told that a portion of his life has been erased and re-edited. I mean, you listen to the way he's talking, it's like, he's been mind erased or replaced or something. Where it's just like, that was the greatest, and then realizes he can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And, so the point that he realizes that an alien has basically inserted himself into his life, re-edited it so he was there.
On that note, I think perception filters are a bit overused in Doctor Who and Torchwood.
Especially during the Moffat era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's suddenly perception filters can do everything.
Yep.
Except, just affect perception.
So, and he has literally just found out this news minutes ago. And yet he's 100% behind his son at that point. I'm sorry, his brain should still be trying to catch up. While I have
you could
no
probably
doubt
argue
that
it's
would be
like-
the eventual solution,
Mm-hmm.
I don't quite think he'd be ready to yet.
He might have taken a little more pushing at the very least.
Yes.
Mm.
And of course, the problem is with this plot, that would mean that everyone would be dead. But
Although, even if less of the pushing came from the Doctor and more of the pushing came from the kid, I would at least find it more satisfying, because I feel like the Doctor is just like, okay, here's what you need to do in order to solve this episode's plot before the time runs out, rather than being in any way natural.
he should. I mean, with what they've given you, he should be more kind of gibbering.
Mm-hmm.
He should be
In
torn.
shock.
Yeah. And
I guess by virtue of that, you could almost split this in two, and when they get sucked into the cupboard is the end of episode 1, and part 2 is him in the dollhouse coming to terms with this revelation.
I do think this story could have really benefited from something like that, or even just being an hour-long episode instead of 40 minutes.
The problem is the amount of time they spend in the dollhouse is like all of 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And it ends up not amounting to anything.
Yeah, it's mostly just them running around.
Usually in a Doctor Who story, when they get split up, something happen. Like, it matters what both parties do. In this case, it really only matters what the Doctor's doing.
Yeah. And, sending them into the dollhouse wasn't necessary. Because I would have loved it if the Doctor had turned around, pulled a magnifying glass or something out of his pocket. Because it's the Doctor's pockets. He has everything in there. Looked in and saw tiny Rory. And, even possibly had a conversation where he, found out that Amy's one of the dolls. Rory's about to get, dollified. And the Doctor realizes the danger and is pleading with him there. Maybe, something like that, where they're still, the Doctor and his father are still there in the real world. I don't know. Having everybody get sucked into the dollhouse just didn't sit with me.
Before we go to final thoughts, I want to ask a question about a scene, because it didn't come up, but Matt reminded me of it.
Okay, we've got plenty of time.
Matt talked about how he gave the list of how everybody got sucked into the dollhouse. What did you guys think of the fact that the scene right before that started, the father kind of gives a list of all the things George is scared of, and then one by one, all of those things get sucked into the dollhouse, in the next 3 scenes?
I didn't like it. If he's been scared of him for that long, why are they getting sucked into the dollhouse now?
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Yeah,
that was kind of my reaction when I realized it was all happening one after the other.
And sucking Amy and Rory into the dollhouse didn't suck her because it was still making noise.
Yeah,
Right.
the elevator was still there and it's still constantly making noise.
But especially with the landlord not even being like, he had already left and gone back to his own room before that happened. So it was like he's scaring him from a distance without making any noise or the dog barking.
And about them even being there anymore at that point.
Right.
It was the timing of it was bad.
I guess in a way, something that could have helped is like the doctor or just one of them being like one of the people they run into when they're trying to find the apartment that they're in, like brings up that people have gone missing recently.
Mm-hmm.
That would have helped. With, the tenants scared.
Right.
Yeah.
Because people are disappearing.
Mm-hmm. Which is why all of them will like keep a curfew and everything, and why everything else is like really quiet outside at night.
Instead, it's just kind of a hodgepodge.
Mm-hmm.
Which, makes it a Gaddis production.
It's got good moments, but yeah, there's some hodgepodgey flaws here.
It's not by far the worst Gaddis, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's go to final thoughts. Thomas?
Yep. I honestly really still enjoy this. Like, there are problems here and there, and it could be better, and it could I could see it as one of the stories that benefits from at least being a two-parter. But that aside, with what we got, I enjoy it enough that I'm willing to let some of the negatives slide, which is like, as much as you can say for certain things. As we said before, it's like the kid isn't that bad. I mean, again, it's also a thing of like, yeah, they kind of, for as much as the episode hinges on the kid, he doesn't really have to ultimately do much.
They've made sure to be careful around him to make sure that things didn't go bad, because horror movies can have a tendency to use little kids and suddenly everything goes AWOL because they can't get the kids to do what they want them to.
Yeah. Plus, he's supposed to be an alien, so you kind of have an out if he's
a little bit
properly. Yeah, like it's like I think this like I don't know what the normal consensus on this episode is, so I don't know if it's like sort of underrated or if
I
it's
actually did bump into the general consensus online a little bit after I was done getting my opinions on it already, and they apparently got good to mixed.
I know this is one of the
which
episodes
seems to be our opinion too. It's good to mixed.
Yeah, like I would definitely say this is worth checking out.
All right, Bill.
So yeah, as I just mentioned, this is one of those episodes I normally forget exists. And having rewatched it, I can definitely see why, especially since the most memorable part, being inside the dollhouse, does not last for very long. And I feel it doesn't really have a satisfying resolution, especially from Amy and Rory's side. Overall, it's just it really definitely would have benefited from being longer, or at least being trimmed a bit more and being a bit more focused. It seems they were going for a story to kind of say about like a father loving his kid, but they really shot that in the foot with the execution as well. I know some of what Thomas has said indicates that he would disagree with that, but I do not think they pulled that off very well at all. And yeah, it's definitely not a top episode for me.
All right, Matt.
For me, it's a memorable episode, but in particular for the dollhouse scenes, which, as we have said, are not that many, but there are a few other good shots here and there throughout. I do recall. Yeah, I do recall. I remember how it basically ends and how the explanation is with the kid. It was one of the few things I do recall for a long period of time. And yeah, there's some questions and logic here and there, but otherwise I think majority of this is pretty good. But it's not particularly great, but it's definitely not quite mediocre. It's a lot of back and forth between really good and really mediocre stuff.
All right. Anything else?
About it.
All right. So, yeah, I see where they were trying to go with this episode, but I do think it was kind of muddled in the execution. Um, the writer got caught up in the minutia and needed to focus more on the big picture and establish believability, and he completely failed to do so. The director did the best with what he got and managed to drum up some great tension building scenes and some suspense. Made everything nice and eerie and spooky, which is what it should have been. Um, but you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. Let's rate this. Thomas is going to like it, so what are you giving it, Thomas?
Given the fact that, like, yeah, certain stuff in this is good enough that I'm willing to justify rating this higher than I rated Vincent and the Doctor, but I don't think it's worth a 5 either, so I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Bill.
So I too had to make a decision based compared to Vincent and the Doctor, whether I liked it the same or whether I liked it less, since I don't give away a lot of 2.5s apparently to compare it to. And I think I'm going to go to the 2.5.
Ouch. Matt.
Here I'm sitting, and here I was arguing between 3.5 and 4. Um,
We've set the top and bottom scores, I think.
right.
Yeah.
I'm not as high as Thomas, but I'm not like rock bottom at least. Trying to decide, splitting fractions within fractions in my brain. It's mostly harmless. There's some really good points. I
That's what the
guess I'm
guide
leaning towards
says about the
4.
Earth. Said 4?
Yeah, I guess I'm leaning towards 4. Just barely.
Mostly harmless. That's what the guide said about the Earth.
Mostly. The update is mostly.
I was prepared to give this a 3 when I came in to watching it. Not when I started the podcast, but before I viewed it. I'm going to up that to a 3.5 just because of the cinematography.
Yeah.
And with 4 completely different scores, we discover that I am in fact correct.
Uh-huh.
I knew you
Because
were going
the
to say
average
that.
comes out to a 3.6.
Keep polishing that ego.
It is on par with The Doctor, the Widow, the Wardrobe. Oh, I forgot. It comes in at 250 out of 383 things reviewed, so less than half.
Less than half, but there could be worse things on the horizon.
It is on par with The Doctor, the Widow, the Wardrobe, The Woman Who Lived, The Tomb of the Cybermen, Full Circle, Resurrection of the Daleks, and The Reign of Terror. We actually don't have that many 3.6s. It is better than A Town Called Mercy, Fury from the Deep, Mark of the Rani, Twice Upon a Time, The Christmas Invasion, City of Death, and 42. And it is not as good as Dragonfire, The Claws of Axos, Smile, The Idiot's Lantern, Flatline, The Daleks, or The Moonbase. So once again, 250 out of 383. That is all we have to say about Night Terrors.
Okay, so please let us know in the comments, what do you think about this episode? And we've given a wide range of scores to agree or disagree with, so please let us know if you agree with any of us. Don't forget to like or dislike the video if you feel that way. And subscribe on YouTube or follow us on Twitch to get our episodes every Wednesday night or their exports.
All right, so next time we continue reviewing the 11th Doctor and Series 6. It is The Girl Who Waited, written by Tom McCrae and starring Matt Smith as the Doctor, Karen Gillan as Amy Pond, and Arthur Darvill as Rory Williams. We'll see you next week.
Good night.